Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Russell Jackman, because Mike McDowd is on assignment today. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a trivia question. Let's see, we got two questions regarding the TV show Friends, and then
Oh no,
another.
no, 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 no. Bam,
Well,
buzzer. No,
man, come
I
on, you
never
used to
watched
watch.
the show. I can already say
You've
I don't know
never
the
watched the
answer.
show, yeah, but you still may know
No,
the
I
answer.
hated that show.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I did. So
Well,
we're gonna have to come up with something a little bit more relatable. Yes.
come on, Jennifer
I'll have to look
Aniston.
at some.
Jennifer
No,
Aniston. Come on.
I couldn't stand it.
Really? Oh,
I never watched a single episode, so I wouldn't be able to tell
no.
you anything about it.
Well, there was definitely
Sorry.
some
Other
some.
TV stuff I know a lot about.
All right. Well, we are going to talk a lot of sports today. Let's see here. Holy smokes! The uh, Oklahoma City Thunder. What are they? 17-1 as of today.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like the Dodgers. You're just going to get ready to hand them another championship.
Yeah.
The
Well,
season is
they.
just a pretense.
I mean, the young. They're still fairly young too, aren't they? The squads.
Yeah, and they're getting more draft picks, good young draft picks as time moves forward because of a lot of the deals they made. So get ready for a dynasty.
Yeah. And then what's going on with New England Patriots? Holy smokes, they were terrible the last couple of years, and suddenly, what are they, 10 and
That was
2?
my topic 3 weeks ago, and they haven't lost a game since.
Pretty amazing. All right,
Yeah.
audience, you are okay. When we come back, we're going to talk football. We'll talk some basketball and any other sports that come upon our desk here. Audience, stay with us. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Mr. Russell Jackman. Mike McDowd is
Yeah,
off
you're about
today.
to say Mike, but he's not here.
I said, Mr. Usually, for some reason, he's on first, whatever. But okay. So, Russell, which topics you want to cover first?
Okay, well, first of all, since we are a money-based show primarily,
Yeah.
let's talk about the sad, pathetic tale of one Brandon Ayuk.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Before he got hurt, you could even see. I mean, even Debo Samuel. I don't know what it is. Maybe the culture. Us as fans, we love him, we root for him, and then stuff must go on behind the scenes that we just don't know.
Oh yeah, for people who don't know, the 49ers, after a year of waiting around for Brandon Ayuk to come back from an injury, and it's not like the 49ers have such a healthy roster that they would refuse someone who was finally healthy and ready to play. Have decided to now cut ties with Brandon Ayuk and release him from the squad, even though they certainly could use the additional help at wide receiver because Pearsall hasn't been healthy all year,
No.
and they've had injuries to people like Kittle and everybody but McCaffrey pretty much has gone down for them, and yet when they need Ayuk the most during this playoff drive, they're not going to have him. And so, people who
So what are they going to do with them?
really, there's not much that can be done. The trade deadline has passed, which is, another kind of strategic error by the 49ers that they didn't, try harder to unload him, when he had some limited value. And now pretty much, I mean, he's a dead asset, and the Niners just have to wait to finally release him at the end of the season.
Now the thing is,
So
he had a bad knee injury. Is he healthy enough to play, or
who knows? We'll never know. We will never know if he was. At least not this season. We won't know if he's healthy to play because he's now really not a 49er. I mean, he is on the salary cap. He's considered a 49er.
$1 million or something that they don't want to pay him.
Yeah, that by getting rid of him now, they avoid having to pay him for next season. And the guaranteed contract that he had from this season, which was based on a bunch of incentives, he loses all of that. So it's really not since I think Le'Veon Bell as a player totally miscalculated what his value was to a team and wound up
Yeah, but
paying the
you know what?
price for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Le'Veon Bell. He ended up going to the Jets, and then
Yeah, that was and his career was never the same. And
no, but he made bank though.
yeah, he fell out of the league pretty much shortly after that.
Yeah.
And I know because I drafted him on my fantasy team, and he was a complete disaster. I have a tendency to
Oh,
do that. And this year I drafted the worthless Bucky Irving, who has
what?
taken 9 weeks off of the season.
So
And
Russell, you should sell your picks again. Do the opposite of Russell to do well.
yes, oh, I tell people that in fact, that's one of my roles now. After last year, when I drafted McCaffrey number one and
Yeah.
suffered that ignominious fate, I said I would never draft a 49er again, just so that I can spare them my luck, my fantasy luck.
And now they're barely in the hunt for the wild card, the 49ers, right?
Well, no, they're tonight, we're just about to play Monday Night Football. And
Yeah.
tonight the 49ers have a chance to go 9-3 if they win.
Yeah, the Rams look pretty good though, and even Seattle looks pretty good.
I know it's not going to be easy. There might be, a 10-win team that doesn't make the playoffs in the
Yeah.
West, in the
Wouldn't it be
NFC
crazy if you
West.
had the Rams versus New England again? Very similar to 2001 Super Bowl, where New England.
No,
That's
I would be a gigantic New England fan. Then. Call me a Patriot fan. Then if that happens. But
yeah.
I also wanted to bring up what I consider and we always like to talk about a little bit. Mike always likes to talk about college football,
Yeah.
and on Saturday, UCLA made what I think is maybe the most boneheaded move of the 2025 football season. They're down 13-0, okay,
Mhm.
but they're on the 45-yard line of Washington, and it was 2 minutes before the half. And they line up to kick. It's 4th and 15. And they line
Okay.
up to kick a field goal, and instead make the lamest fake kick I have ever seen in all the years that I've watched pro or college football. Did you see that at all?
I've got to. I have to watch the highlight of that or the low
You
light.
will have to watch the highlight because, okay, first of all, they the snapper like just sort of throws the ball over his shoulder, just kind of instead of even handing it off to the kicker, he just kind of throws it over his shoulder, and the kicker can't grab it. It lands right into the hands of a walk-on transfer for Washington, and he runs it like 60 yards for a touchdown.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it really, I mean, they went from being down 13-0 to being down 20-0. Instead of being down 13-3, they were down 20-0. And it just got worse from there. But I just, why you even think, if you're the coach, that your kicker can fake a kick and run it back 15 yards to get a first down is beyond me. That's maybe one of
It's the unexpected.
and then trying to do a fake kick as badly as that one. I've seen ones where the high snapper will go and the holder will go and pick it up and throw it.
Yeah.
And I can understand that a little bit. But when you're trying to tell your kicker to run a ball 15 yards up the field, that
That's
the coach
to cover. Yeah. that was a
That
good point.
the coach should be fired. The coach for UCLA should be fired. Except he already was fired. They're already on their second coach this year.
Well, what about who is it? The Chiefs ended up being able to go into overtime and win because
Yep.
the choice of not kicking a field goal and trying to go for it on fourth. It was kind of like so instead of being up by 3 or being up
Yeah,
by
instead of tying it, they went for the win, which was, when you're the Chiefs, you can pull that off. When you're UCLA, you can't. That's
yeah,
the big deal. But
that's right.
yeah, that was because Indianapolis, who was really beating the tar out of Kansas
Yeah.
City, decided to stop running the ball. They were running really successfully and had 55 yards or 52 yards in the first half by Taylor. Suddenly they stopped going to Taylor, and suddenly their offense stalled. They got,
But you never know if
one field goal.
he was hurt, a little bit. That's sort of. Hey, tell you what, let's go to our first commercial break, and when we come back. I also want to talk about the Cowboys and the Eagles. That was quite a turn
Oh
of events.
gosh, yes.
All right, Russell's favorite TV show, Friends. All right, in the TV show Friends, what is the name of Ross's second wife? Sorry, if you don't know the show, it's going to be a hard one. All
Yeah,
right.
might as well ask me the circumference of the moon.
All right, audience, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back.
Yeah, might as well ask me the circumference of the moon in centimeters.
Okay.
More of a chance if you just say, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10 million.
Okay, you ready now? Remember,
Yeah.
when I do this, we have to have 5 seconds of silence. We didn't have our 5 seconds of
Right.
silence. Hopefully the station will know that. All right, audience, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown along with Russell Jackman, who can't remember the rules about when I show up my hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have to be quiet. That's okay. All right, first trivia question. The show Friends, what is the name of Ross's second wife?
Rachel.
No, actually, that was the first one. Very good. That was Jennifer Aniston. I believe they had gotten married before, and so that was the first wife. See, you do know a little bit. Actually, Emily is the second wife who ends up, I guess, leaving him too. All right, let's go back
You might
to.
as well ask me what the circumference of the moon is in centimeters. I have about that much chance of getting it right.
Okay, go ahead. What's the answer?
I don't know what the circumference of the moon is in
Rachel.
centimeters.
That's the answer, Rachel. Okay, let's see. I do want to make a mention for Mountain Mike's Pizza in San Rafael. Pizza the way it ought to be. Check them out. Mountain Mike's Pizza, San Rafael. That location. The last time I think I had a pepperoni pizza, a large one, I think there was 100 pieces of pepperoni. It was awesome. I'm still feeling the pepperoni now. It was great. Check them out. Mountain Mike's Pizza in San Rafael. Okay, so before we went to our break, we were talking about how the Cowboys-Eagles game was quite a turn of events.
21-0, and that wasn't enough. And the Eagles couldn't score 1 point in the second half and watch the Dallas Cowboys overtake them and win. How embarrassing that was. Fortunately, I had Pickens on my fantasy team, so he certainly helped me out big time. And I hate to be rooting for a Cowboy, but I guess, an ill wind blows no one well. So at least that went my way.
Well, it's all about Russ and his fantasy team. That's all anybody cares
It's all about how nobody wants to win the NFC East, it seems. I thought just when, Philadelphia was going to salt that division away, they lose a game
Giants,
like
baby.
this and they leave.
New York Giants.
No, I'm not a Giants fan.
No,
I'm not a Giants fan. Yeah. San Francisco
Actually,
Giants, maybe.
Got eliminated, right? They're the first team that got eliminated, and then how about them Raiders? Yeah.
Well,
Not so good.
I heard that Carroll is out.
Oh, is that right? They fired him?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
So,
Now, how much do you
much
think they're losing had to do with his play calling? I mean, sometimes you just
it
get
was a terrible fit. So I can't really say where one thing ends and the other begins. They both didn't belong together with each other. They were both disasters. There's no way I would have thought that Pete Carroll would be a good fit for the Raiders. And the Raiders are a young team that wants to try to. Obviously, they're going to have to rebuild because they're one of the worst teams in professional football. I mean, to lose to the Browns, and not only to lose to the Browns, but to get killed by the Browns, basically. It's time to just tear your team apart and start over again. So Geno Smith is what I thought he would be, which is just he was a real fluke for Seattle, and he had kind of his best year ever, and he's really coming back down to earth and becoming the kind of guy he was for the Jets.
That's right. I was trying to remember who else he played for. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the Jets. He was terrible. He got into a fight with one of his teammates and broke his hand and was out for like half the season, if you remember that at all.
Yeah, I sort of forgot about that, but I keep remembering about Gus Farrat, who he got all excited and he did a headbutt against the field goal post, and it hurt his neck, and he was out for I don't know
He
how.
didn't do it against the field goal post. He did it against the wall entering that goes
You're
into
right. You're right. That's right. It was against the
tunnel.
wall. Yeah.
He headbutted the wall, and what he did was he herniated the cervical disc in his neck.
Yeah.
And I remember watching when he did it.
Yeah.
And it's I'm a pro wrestling guy, so I'm used to. I know what a proper headbutt actually looks like, and you don't hit a headbutt with your head down and pointed towards somebody. You smash somebody with the center of your forehead. You don't do the top of your head, and that's what he did. Is he literally lowered his head and ran into the basically gave himself a standing pile driver.
Yeah.
If you really want to put it in those terms, and you're not supposed to do that. And the neck is one of those things you just don't want to mess with. It reminds me of when Merton Hanks used to do the chicken dance.
Oh yeah, he never got
and that was even watching it now. It looks so painful. I couldn't even do that, like one movement of that dance, let alone minutes.
Yeah, I like Merton. He was a good player. Or Grammatica. He was a field goal kicker, and he got all excited. He jumped up, and when he came down, he ruptured something in his knee.
Yeah, and I was talking the other day about how Dre Greenlaw tore his ACL. Right before he entered in the Super Bowl. Like he was on the sidelines doing that thing where guys just kind of jump up and down, to get themselves loose and ready to play.
Yeah.
And he tweaked his knee as he was jumping up and down, getting ready to come in. And he tore his ACL. He was never the same.
That's how he tore it. Oh, I mean, there must have been something really tender.
It was just getting ready. It was non-impact, and it wasn't during the game. He was just on the sideline, warming up, getting ready to get in, and loosening himself up. And he hurt it. He tore his ACL.
What do you do? You got to put all these guys in one of those big bubble wrap things so that they don't.
Well, that's why when people are saying, the Niners should get a new training staff, and I go, I appreciate that. Maybe that's a good idea, but is it going to stop you from getting injuries like that, or what happened to Fred Warner or Bosa?
No, Fred Warner. I mean, that was just a regular tackle where a guy just landed on him. I mean, that part is going to be hard to avoid.
Yeah, and Nick Bosa. I mean, that was another guy rolling up on him. And unfortunately, unless they come up with some kind of knee and ankle armor and Achilles armor that you can wear without
like in baseball, these guys have they wear the thing on their arm so that in case a pitch comes inside,
right, but that you don't run on your arm. That's the big difference. Is they're trying to
ankles are so hard. I mean, you can only tape them
up.
Well,
you need to run. Your ankle has to go in different directions to be able to run and to plant and to move and all that stuff. And if you're going to be able to do that, then you have the ability to tear it if it goes too far. It's they need some kind of like shoe or knee pad or something like that that allows you to move but doesn't allow you to move too far.
It just reminds me, like in the Middle Ages when they had the knights with all their armor. If you notice, like later on in the 1600s and 1700s, it's like people didn't wear armor anymore, and the reason is because you couldn't move that well.
Well, that brings up an interesting thing. One of the things that I watch on YouTube when I've got nothing better to do. They have a thing called the armored MMA,
Huh. I never heard
where
of that.
people wear knight armor
Cool.
and have blunt weapons and beat the tar out of each other inside an MMA arena.
That's kind of interesting. I actually have watched a jousting one time, and this guy got
Right.
jousted like right in the face. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah,
was
no, jousting is super ultra dangerous. It really, it's amazing that in the days before, emergency medicine, they would do the jousting because there were a lot of fatalities in
well. And
jousts.
if you notice, they most of them are right-handed, and yet they're on the right side of the fence, and so they have to reach over to cross to their left side to hit their opponent. If you think about it, if it was the other way around and they were able to just kind of swing, I mean, it would be over in the first time that they met. But because you have to cross your arm over to reach the guy on the other side, if you're right-handed, if you know what I mean, it usually lasts a little bit longer. But this one guy got knocked off his horse because the guy just hit him right in the face. And again, fortunately, he had the armor on his face. But boy, that was kind of scary.
But to fall from a horse's height down to the ground, even with
Yeah,
armor, it's a huge impact. And it's what disabled Christopher Reeve.
I was just thinking of him, and it's amazing how many there wasn't there. Oh, Mark Wahlberg's daughter got hurt falling off a horse. I don't think she got
Yeah,
paralyzed. She got hurt.
yeah, it's a significant fall. A lot of people, see it in the movies and see, people fall off their horse all the time, in on TV, and it's way more dramatic of a fall
What do
than
you think
most
about it?
people understand.
You're talking at least 4.5, 5, or no more than that, probably 5 feet, and you're not ready
Right.
for.
And I fell like that on my shoulder and I had to have it replaced. So yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely know how dramatic something like that is. Again, people underestimate because they see it on TV all the time. It's a lot more harmful than it
Okay,
looks.
we're gonna ask another trivia question here on Friends. This one I think is easier, and I hope you'll know this one. And before we do though, we do want to make a mention for the Tahoe Lakeshore Lodge. The fall is still we're just getting out of fall, getting into winter, so they still have beautiful beachfront property, lots of like hundreds of feet. Check them out, TahoeLakeshoreLodge.com. All right, what is the name of the coffee shop in the TV show Friends? What is the name of the coffee shop in the TV show Friends? And it's kind of a cute name based on where it's located in New York. All right, that's our trivia question. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We are going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman. Hopefully next week, Mr. Mike will be back. Trivia question number
And
2.
better trivia. Let's hope better trivia next
And
week.
better trivia. Okay, what is the name of the coffee shop in the TV show Friends?
I don't know. I'm just gonna say Starbucks so we can move on.
Central Perk.
I
Instead of Central Park. You didn't know that one. Okay.
nothing.
Now, the
Nothing.
next trivia question, I guarantee you will get. It says, and it has nothing
Mm,
to do with Friends, but
good.
it has to do with either comic strips or the Marvel movies. So I'm sure you'll know
I
the
can't
answer.
be any worse. Yeah, no, I can't be any worse than Friends trivia.
You
That's
will.
my ultimate weakness.
Okay, you ready
Might as well
first
have
for?
asked country music winners. Might as well have asked country music award winners,
There you
and
go.
I would be just as bad at that.
And the answer is
You
Taylor
could.
Swift. Taylor Swift's always the answer. Okay, but we do have a silly joke of the week. So my wife said I had to stop acting like a flamingo, so I put my foot down.
And raise your other foot up.
Uh, yeah, there you go. Okay. All right, Russ. What else you want to talk? Hey, anything exciting going on in wrestling?
Well, let's see. As far as the WWE goes, no, I kind of have backed off of the WWE itself. After that announcement that WrestleMania tickets are going to be, someone just gave me a link that showed me that WrestleMania tickets for 2027 are going to be $70,000 for a front row seat.
Well,
$70,000.
yeah, you'll get a
You
couple of
know,
high rollers for that, but how much are they going to be in
oh,
the?
you weren't going to give me what? You weren't going to send me over there to cover it as part
No,
of Sports Econ
no.
101?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
You
no.
know, fly
Um,
me out there and then, pay for $70,000 seats. And
only
then,
if you
and
fly.
on
Only
top of that, they're doing meet and greets with John Cena for $443.77. Because $444 would have been just outrageous. But $443.77.
and
That's a
is
bargain.
there any significance to that number?
Just because they add on service fees, of a certain
Oh,
percentage. So
gotcha.
it's like $400 plus another $43.77 as a service fee.
And if you have, let's say, 100 people willing to pay that, how much time do you really get to spend with them?
None, and I mean, no offense, but I got to meet John Cena for absolutely free back in 2000. So, here's one other thing too is that this year does mark the 14th year that my friend Mark Bison Smith died, and it was just a couple days ago. And I still think about him all the time. I managed him as the Super Destroyer 2000, and I managed against him and all sorts of matches at Pro Wrestling Iron. And he was just a really great guy and deserves to be remembered, even though
How
a
old was
lot
he
of
when he
people,
died?
he wasn't super famous, but he made a living with wrestling, which is more than a lot of other guys I know can
How old?
say. And
How did he die, and how old was he?
44, and he had a congenital heart defect
Uh,
that
and then all
nobody
that.
could, that he thought he always had, but was the kind of thing that couldn't be done. Nothing could be done with until you have an autopsy.
Oh, great.
It's so
How
big. And I mean, I guess he
how
could
big
have had a
was
heart replacement. I'm sorry.
how big was he?
Oh, he was 6'5", 6'6", and 350 pounds. He was gigantic and in the best shape of anyone in their lives. It's another one of those things that a person can look amazing on the outside, and on the inside, you don't know what their heart looks like, and you don't know. He had always been worried that because his grandfather died of a
Yeah.
heart defect like that he always may have had that as well inside him. But again, there was nothing you could do about it. And even, you'd say, well, be in good shape and all that stuff. He was in the best shape you could be in,
Yeah.
and it just
So
wasn't
well,
enough.
how much do you think wrestling hurt him?
Not at all, because his grandfather wasn't a wrestler and died of that same heart defect. It is literally just one of those things that, like, it could have, his heart could have, that defect could have shown up when he was 10 years old, when he
Yeah.
was 40 years old, when he's 60 years old, 80 years old. It was just a matter of just luck and timing.
His timing,
That
yeah.
it,
But,
yeah.
my grandfather died at age 63, heart attack. My dad died at age 53 of a heart attack. So when I turned 43, I told my wife, I don't know, but she said, I break
Well,
that
here
curse.
you are.
Here
Here
I
you
am,
are. So
and I'm almost 66. So we'll,
congratulations.
and the doctor says my heart is pretty good. So we'll go with that.
All
All
right.
right.
You'll be hosting many more of these shows to come.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Um, Yeah, let's see. We've been on since 2013. So what is that? 12, a little over 12 years, 12 and a half years we've been on.
Yeah, and my kids were born in 2011. So I think when you're a parent, you often mark like when your kids were born, when stuff
That's right.
happens. You just
Yeah,
the
yeah,
before my kids, after my kids, before
yeah,
kids, after kids, and then I guess the next big thing is when they move out. Then I'll that'll be my next
yeah.
big date. I can
Or get
start
married,
saying
or
yes.
yeah,
Who knows
because
when that'll happen? Let's see. I don't want to talk baseball. I mean, hockey, we don't really talk about, although Ovechkin got his 900th goal since we last talked, which is pretty impressive.
and
I
there is a
don't,
single soccer. I did have Chris Wondolowski on the show one time, and he just got inducted in the Hall of Fame for soccer.
oh wow, okay. Well, there's the women's World Cup that's coming to Oakland.
And
And people are quite a buzz about that. It's been kind of nice that since the Raiders and the Warriors and the A's left town, Oakland has been finding ways to stay sports relevant by
Yeah.
bringing in things like the World Cup, by the Ballers, the Oakland Ballers playing, and geez, the A's were such a disaster in Sacramento. It's really a shame that some owner won't try to just buy them out from Fisher and
Well,
move
what are
them
they,
back
where are they going to play next year? Back in
to
Sacramento?
Sacramento.
How
They
how
have to. They at least there's no stadium there for them in Las Vegas yet. So whatever time it takes for that stadium to get built in Las Vegas, it's going to be going to have to be that amount of time plus a few months before the A's are able to move in there. And
the Raiders won't let them play there, right?
no, it's not because in this day and age, no baseball team should have to share the same confines as a football team. I don't think we're ever going to see, that was so popular for so many years, the multi-use stadium, and we're just never going to see that again. Nobody wants to make those huge configuration changes to bring in a baseball team, and it's too many games for baseball and not enough games for football. So
And
if you have a baseball stadium,
the field is so different. It's hard to have.
yeah, it was never good, and the whole fact that you have the pitcher's mound that you usually couldn't get rid of, and you have the markings on the field. I mean, a lot of kids look at the old footage of the Candlestick and Oakland Stadium and see the baseball markings on there and go, "What the heck's going on with that?" And you have to explain to them that no, they used to share stadiums, and a lot of kids have their mouths all the way down to the ground. They're like,
Think
why?
about
To save money. I'm like, save money? Aren't these teams worth, hundreds of billions of dollars? It's like, well, they weren't then.
yeah.
Yeah, they weren't
But think
then.
about it. I mean, look how expensive building a stadium is, and you have to have the
Yeah,
land.
no, the idea of $1 billion stadium now is kind of a joke. If you
Yeah.
only spent $1 billion on a stadium, a lot of fan bases would say that's all. Well, why don't
Seems like basketball's like because I was thinking about the Oakland Coliseum for basketball, and it seems like because you only have what maybe 20,000 fans watch basketball at a
it's
time.
smaller, but you want to make sure that you have those luxury boxes. You want to make sure that you make it a friendly venue for other things, not
Yeah,
just
also the
not
court.
just
You
for
have to make sure the
basketball.
court is set because I know, yeah, San Francisco when they built for the Warriors, I had a wealthy friend's friend type of thing. They spend $1 million a year on their tickets for the Warriors so that they can have their luxury box, and I think it's like they
Wow,
get. Yeah, it's like you get like 16 seats in that luxury box, and then
a
you get to
billion
go.
dollars?
I mean, that's what it costs, about $1 million a year. Something ridiculous.
Well, a million, not a billion.
No, 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 no. 1 million. Yeah, it's not going to be a
Oh,
billion. Not that people can afford that.
it's like a
$1 million a
billion.
year.
That's crazy. They get that stadium paid off in a couple of days
Yeah.
if they could
Yeah, think
sell.
about it though. I mean, unless you have 16 friends who are going to pay you a lot to share it or whatever. I mean, that's a lot of money.
No, sports is coming out of the grasp of the common person. And as I talked about last week, I was really upset about the fact that you're forced to watch Prime Video to see those cup games, the NBA Cup games, which to me
Yeah.
is so counterintuitive because the NBA wants people to watch these cup games so that people take them seriously. So why do you put it on a venue? Why do you put it in a form that nobody can watch?
They have to they weigh how much they get
Yeah,
paid.
they do, and I'm tired of that. I'm tired. I don't mind something being made available to another audience and that they can add to their audience, but the
Oh, they add.
exclusivity,
Yeah, but
the
taking
ex-
away those is
yeah,
that's
exclusivity is I think could be the death of modern sports, where they start saying you can't watch. And you pointed out that there was a playoff game last year that
yeah.
was only available on Amazon. And it's ridiculous. When
It
you take
wasn't
away the
like
postseason from people, when you start charging for that, and you just, as I said, I'm afraid that the Super Bowl not only is going to be, a pay-per-view event, but it's going to be pay-per-view by the quarters. Like some station is going to sponsor the first quarter, the second quarter, and it'll be the kind of thing like you have to pay as you go, like with airline paying for airline bag.
you have to keep switching stations.
Yeah, or what they'll say is like eventually it'll be like a pass will be in the middle of the air, and they'll say if you want to see this pass completed, or incomplete, you have to pay another another $20.
Here's how they I could see them doing it. It's like you don't have to keep changing stations. What they'll do is they'll automatically switch it for you. Between Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, whatever.
Yeah, and then like the little meter will go up in the corner of your screen saying this play now just cost you $37 to watch. You laugh.
Oh my God. Oh, don't kill me with that. Okay, here is trivia question number 3. You ready? In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not even sure what that means. What is Iron Man's real name? Okay, I know you know. I know that you'll know the answer to that one, and I don't mean
Okay, well,
like
I know the real
I don't
universe. Yeah.
play character. I mean and basically, you watch Iron Man. What's his name? Okay, it's not Iron Man, right? Okay, that's our trivia question. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments and our fun thoughts for the day. Don't touch that dial.
No.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman. All right.
And no, I don't record the game, by the way, just for public
Man.
knowledge. Yeah, I'm a man. I watch the game as it happens.
Well, I watch it like a man too, but I have to record it because my wife has me dust the furniture during the time. Okay. Trivia question number 3. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what is Iron Man's real name?
It's Tony Stark.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, now see.
And that's the same that it is in the regular comic universe.
Well, true. I don't know why
So it's not an MCU question, really.
What is Iron Man's, name? And I
Thank God. Now, you can ask me Marvel comic questions probably till the day you die, and I'd probably be able to answer all this. So
Okay.
I'm glad at least I've kept my streak alive of answering one trivia question per week.
That is true. Okay, you ready for our thoughts of the day? Here we go. The
Never.
more you weigh, the harder you are to kidnap. So stay safe and eat cake. And
Okay.
where do bad rainbows go? To Prism. It's
Prism.
a light.
I was going to say that. I didn't have any.
Yeah, but it goes on. It's a light sentence, but it gives them time to reflect. Isn't that good? That's pretty good.
Oh no.
No, you don't like that one?
Wow.
Right, audience. Russ didn't like that one. So with that, we're going to say tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective, asking more trivia questions, and of course, coming up with more fun thoughts of the day to just get in Russell's craw. All right, audience. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
So long.